Welcome to episode 201 of the Grip Strip Podcast, the Hello to 2024 edition of the Grip Strip Podcast. My name is Philip Matthew. I'm your host, and I'm here doing a solo show to start 2024. My co-host Josh Fine's on vacation. He'll be back for episode 202 and obviously the rest of the season. But we're going to start 2024 with the solo show here. Great to be back on, starting a new job starting my first week at my job itself, and that was nice. Bowling, the good and the bad of it. Bowled a near 600 set on Thursday at the Thursday League, which is pretty rare considering how bad it's been there, and then struggled on Tuesdays. In neither case is our team really contending, but what can you do? Tonight, we're going to go and talk about how the holidays itself for myself, and we'll get into motorsports news. We got the Dakar Rally that has started, so we'll give a review in Americans that are in the race. Chili Bowl is going to be around next week, so we're going to go and talk about that. It's a way different Chili Bowl in terms of a lot of the names that are in there. The usual suspects that we've gotten used to aren't going to be there this year. So we got to go and look at that. Rolex 24 at Daytona is less than 3 weeks away. Got the full Rolex 24 entry list, so we'll go over that in a little bit of detail, especially with the prototype Daytona, the GTP category, the GTP category and the new GTD situation across both the Pro and AM classes. We'll talk about Week 18 in the NFL and review fantasy football, the playoff permutations that are going on for the teams both in AFC and NFC. Both the 49ers and Jaguars, their situations. Of course, when Josh comes on for the next episode, we'll get a greater detail on that in the post-mortem. Black Monday preview with who's going to be out or who's likely to be out. I'll talk about my motivations for 2024 and wishes for not just the show, but in general, considering it is my birthday month. We're 3 weeks away from that as well, so that'll be good to lead up to that, getting close to birthday, and not a birthday that has a significant number, but every birthday, another year around the sun, always is a great thing. So definitely go with that, and we'll close the deal. So first of all, holidays for me were pretty quiet. And Christmas was nice, being with family and being able to celebrate with them, both sides of the family, and for Christmas and in New Year's, going and breaking bread and meeting some new people. And we were able to bowl through the holidays, at least with one league. And it was pretty good to just have time off, which is something I haven't had a whole lot of during my working life. So to go and have a week off from work itself and just to go and chill out was pretty good, and allowed me to come into this week and perform to what I would hope to be the best of my ability. A lot of new perks, being closer to home, being in an office space and having an office of my own is something that's never happened before. And to be able to have a work vehicle and to have technology to telecommute and all that good stuff, it's nice to have that sort of thing. And it probably can make a case that it all stems from my decision to go and get sober. And it hasn't been put out there for everyone. I haven't really put it out there on here per se, even though it's my show. But I mean, we're a few days away from officially getting to 6 months. But today is or this week is led up to 180 days, and to think where I've been in my life and to now be at 180 days sober is something that's pretty amazing. And for where the show started and what I was doing while we were doing the show to now doing it this way is a totally different animal. And I feel like 2024 is going to be a great year in many ways, but it's also going to be a great year for the show because being more coherent, being more aware, being more in tune with what's going on is going to make the show better, not just for myself, but also with Josh and with anybody else that is willing to contribute or wants to come on here. Already got at least a couple of guests lined up for early in the season because the lead up until March is really all NASCAR. You'll have a little bit of IMSA, of course, and with the Rolex, and we have the Chili Bowl, Dakar Rally, a little bit indoor racing, and then some testing here and there, but mostly NASCAR. So we're gonna try to find guests and people that are into the Cup Series and Xfinity and give us their perspectives along with our perspectives of the major three NASCAR series during these next few weeks, along with football, which we're going to get into in a little bit because we're getting towards the playoffs. So that'll be kind of the recipe for the first couple of months of season 5 and leading up to, hopefully we'll get to, we basically done work the whole entire year. So under that pretense, we can get to 250 episodes by the end of 2024. It'd be pretty cool. So we'll see how it all goes that way. Holidays, as I said, were good, and I'm looking forward to the year. I've looked forward to the year. I've tried to have a positive mindset, but this year I honestly do have that. I have very good feelings, knocking on wood, and want to have great things and make great things happen, not just for the show, but in general. And I honestly feel like I'm in as good of a place for that to happen as I ever have been. So there's a lot of positive energy going on and a lot of potential. And so, that's really all I can say about that. My sobriety getting to this moment, I'm thankful to the people that are closest to me, my mom and my therapist and my former coach that I had last year, Shane. He's a great dude and really helped me out a lot too. And there's other people, that were at the treatment program that have helped me as well, and my friends that I have, obviously not just Josh, but my friends here in Jersey and my best friends that are spread all across the U.S. and family. For all of that, it's been a battle. It's been a struggle. Life been a better more than half my life, or not more than half my life. That's wrong. So it's basically about half my life, not all the way, but to have a battle with addiction, being able to go and get through that is so far in the way that I have has been great, and to have the support that I've had has also made it such a big difference. We'll go towards motorsports, which is what the show is all about. We got the Dakar Rally, which has started with two of the main contenders here. When we look at the Dakar Rally, we think about Nasser Al-Attiyah and Carlos Sainz Sr., not the smooth operator, his son. Both of those gentlemen, they're two of the most well-accomplished drivers in this race, and especially in recent years. And they stand to have have a great chance to go and win or this race. I mean, obviously Nasser Al-Attiyah has won this race last couple of years for Toyota, but he moves over this year to the why am I forgetting the name? Of course, that's where, yeah. So he's racing for the Bahrain Raid Extreme team under his own banner, but the Bahrain Raid Extreme team for Pro Drive as a teammate with Sebastian Loeb, who's trying to win this race for the first time. And so those two are teammates. You have Ford making a debut in the main car category as an independent this year before making a full factory effort in 2025. Dacia is part of the Nasser Al-Attiyah and Sebastian Loeb. They're going to be racing for that manufacturer next year with ProDrive running the team. And so that's something to look at for next year. But obviously we have this race this year, and those are few names. Nani Roma racing for Ford, former champion of this race on motorcycle, racing for Ford. You also have Martin Prokop, a driver who also was in the World Rally Championship, race for Ford. Now he's racing an independent Ford, or a Ford that's similar to the factory backed machine, but running for a satellite team. So that's another person to look at. But the Toyotas are solid, deep field that they have. You have multi-time winner of this race, Janelle de Villiers, is up there and always a contender. You have Lucas Marias as well, and the American Seth Quintero is also a member of the Toyota factory effort. So those are three drivers to look at that can contend for this race win as well. And then Romain Dumas, the former, I think he's a record holder at Pikes Peak, or he's got a number of different places where he's got records. Romain Dumas, he's competing in this race for Rebellion Racing. So that's another person. So it's very early in the race, obviously early days, 3-week event. So trying to get through and limit the mistakes, limit the struggles will be a key. Getting through the rough terrain that they have and trying to make it through is going to be a very tough deal, and will be interesting to see who does make it through in the car category. Of course, the prototype category is just the trio of Audis, which is Carlos Sainz, Matthias Ekstrom, and Stefan Petterhansel, the legend. So having two drivers that have won this race, and Matthias Ekstrom, the multi-time DTM champion, and now is over the last few years committed to driving rally cross and also now rally raid. And then so those are just a few of the drivers there. And then when it comes to, just out of curiosity, I want to go through based on the game, but I'm going to go through the different categories here. So rally, we'll go through the ultimate category, which is the cars, the Bahrain great extreme team, as I mentioned, Loeb and Nasser Al Attiyah. The got Toyotas there with that I don't know of. Then you have Sainz, Petter Hansel, Janelle de Villiers, Marias and Quintero for the Toyota team, Matthias Ekstrom. Then I mentioned Nanny Roma, D. Mivius is one of the first regular stage of the race. Ekstrom won the prologue. Roman Dumas for Rebellion is driving a Toyota, so that makes him a factor as well. The Mini X-Raid group is still around with a few cars as well. Go and look through some of these other names I mentioned. Martin Prokop, Woolridge, who's the son of the team owner there. He's part of the Ford camp. Layla Sands, who's the teammate of Carlos Sainz in Extreme. She's driving a two-wheel drive car, so looking to contend in that category. And then we have, so those are some of the people in the car category. Then in the lightweight prototype, what is that? The lightweight prototype cross country class, the challenger class. The names I would be, we look at Austin Jones, the American, racing for Can-Am, and then Christina Gutierrez, who's a former Extreme champion for Lewis Hamilton's X44 team, Mitchell Guthrie, and along with Kellen Walk for Taurus factory team. And so those are some of the names there that we'd look at. So yeah, the challenger category mentioned. Chris Meek is also a part of the challenger category, the former British Rally champion and competitor in the World Rally Championship. It's amongst the bigger names as Lauda. They are racing in Saudi. So the SSV class, that's with the quad, like the four, whatever the SSV is, like the four-wheel off, like the cross a quad, not a quad, but I forget how they call those vehicles, but the main person to focus on, or main team to focus on, is the U.S. duo of Sarah Price and her co-driver Jeremy Gray. Sarah Price, of course, was in Extreme E. She's the better half of Ricky Brabeck, the former winner of the Dakar Rally on a motorcycle. So she's racing in this race. That's and has a great chance in the category of 31 teams. That's and she has a very good chance of competing, or 36 teams total, and she has a great chance to win this race in her category. There's also Sebastian Loeb has a team in this category, so that'll be someone to look at. I would assume South Racing Can-Am is the team that Sarah Price is racing for. They have three teams, the South, and then Sebastian Loeb has two. Yeah, so nobody has withdrawn so far from this category. So we'll look at how that goes over the next few days and over the next few weeks of the race, or the next couple of weeks, of this race as it goes along. Looking at some of the other rookies, there's 15 teams that signed up as rookies for the rookie challenge. So as I mentioned, the Sarah Price and then Gareth Woolridge are the ones that would probably be the standouts of that class to see who could get that. Talked about that in the SSV category. And then in the trucks, it's basically, I couldn't tell you who any of those people were. You'd be asking a lot. Then in terms of the Motul, yeah, I don't know who any of those people are. The quads in the quads class. Quads class is a very limited field, only 10 drivers, riders in this. And it looks like based on my fantasy team, I picked the worst one. The and So we'll go over from the quads to the bikes. The main or the Rally 2 class has a U.S. rider, Jacob Argabright. He's a contender in the Rally 2 for KTM Deuced Rally team. Then you have Indian Harith Noah for Sherco TVS Rally Factory team. And then those are the two that stand out to me from that category. Deep field, trying to see anybody else, but Kyle McCoy, an American rider, is in this race as well. And then there's another Indian rider there, Ashish Rarane. So that's Rally 2 class, and talked to quad, rode the Dakar, and then Rally GP, of course, is the other main class to look at, which is where main motorcycle category defending race winner Kevin Benavides is one, of course, to look at from Argentina. Then you have other riders like Ross Branch, the American, as I mentioned, Ricky Brayback, another American, Mason Klein, Lorenzo Santolino, Daniel Sanders, the Australian racing for Gas, Pablo Quintanilla for Monster Energy Honda, Sam Sunderland, the British rider for Gas, Hero Motorsport team also has Juan Pareda Bort, the former winner, Luciano Benavides, the Husqvarna factory racer and the winner of the World Championship, Toby Price, former winner of this race, and Red Bull KTM rider, Skylar Howes, the American for Monster Energy Honda, as part of the teammates with Ricky Brayback. So those are some of the riders that we're going to look at, and we'll talk about them in more detail over the next couple of episodes as we get closer to the end of the race at that point. Then in the next thing I wanted to talk about, Chili Bowl, talk about the 2024 Chili Bowl, and 370 cars as of now are entered for this race. So it says, oh, really? So 370 or 373. I mean, I'm just going to go through the list. Sammy Swindell, the 5-time winner of this race, the all-time leading winner of this race, driving for his son, Kevin. Then you have, I'm going through some of these other names, Spencer Bastin, Ashton Torkelson, schedule. I'm trying to see former event info, past champions. Yeah, so Logan Seavey, Tanner Thorson, the last two winners of this race are both entered. But the notable absences are, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Rico Abreu. So you're talking about from 2015 through 2021, the winners of all of those races are not entered this year. Of course, we lost Brian Clausen to a racing accident, and Kevin Swindell was injured in a racing accident after winning 4 consecutive Chili Bowls. We got the Demon, Damian Gardner, back in 2008. Smoke won twice in 02 and 07. Tim McCready coming back this year for another shot. The legendary Tracy Hines, Corey Cruzman, 2-time winner. Jay Drake, Dan Bourse won it twice. Billy Boat, Donnie Beechler, Andy Hillenberg. I think that's Oklahoma, or that's Oklahoma. Andy Hillenberg, not the guy who ran the World of Outlaws, Andy Hillenberg, and Dave Blaney, the Buckeye Bullet, YRB's dad, Leland McSpadden, Johnny Heidenreich. The first ever winner of the race was the late Rich Vogler and Scott Hatton. So basically, of all those names, the only ones that I didn't know are the Hatton and Borse. The Leland McSpadden's a legendary name, and Johnny Heidenreich, name from the past. So we have a few guys, couple of 2-3 drivers that are back this year for the opportunity to win the Golden Driller. They have 5 nights of qualifying to get through. So based on Monday night, we'll go by the nights that they're going to have the qualifying. I'm trying to look at familiar names, anything that stands out. The first name, of course, that stands out for the Monday qualifier is Chase Briscoe, racing for his own team with Mahindra Tractors and Ford Performance Racing School, Production Alliance Group, Huffy. So he'll be racing on Monday night. We have, trying to see some of these other names, Sam Haferteep Jr., the multiple ASCS champion, has contended in this race, gotten pretty far through the alphabet trying to get to the main event. Shane Golobic, racing for Matt Wood Racing. Cole Bodine, racing for Reinbold Underwood Motorsports, is someone that we'll look at. Dylan Archer, the son of Bobby Archer, known for Trans Am 2, TA2 racing, and his family with their sports car background, but he's taking a shot to race in the Chili Bowl. Got Taylor Reimer is racing for Keith Coons Motorsports. Interesting year she has ahead. I think she's running stock cars, so see how that all goes. Trying to see who else is familiar. Michael Pickens, the New Zealander. Cannon McIntosh for Keith Coons Motorsports. Jerry Coons Jr., a longtime competitor in midget racing, and a New Jersey driver. Wow, Bridgeton, New Jersey. Lee Nardelli, a rookie, will be attempting to make it. Then you have Chris Wyndham driving for CB Industries. He raced in the high limit, and he also raced in the All-Star Circuit of Champions last year, committing to wing sprints after spending many years in non-wing sprints and in midgets. And his girlfriend's very pretty and talented Georgia Henneberry. Tanner Carrick, another Keith Coons Motorsports driver. That's the Monday list. Leading into Tuesday night, Brayton Lynch will be racing for Rusty Coons Racing. Jake Andriotti, the California driver. Thomas Meserol is back for another attempt at the Chili Bowl. Parker Price Miller for the David McIntosh Spike Toyota team. And go through some of these other. Corey Kruzman, the multi-time winner of this race, he's got a couple of cars in the show. One of them, or attempting to make the show, AJ Bender, one of his drivers. The high line tickler, Kyle Strickler, driving for Chase Briscoe in his second car, the 14P. So we'll see how he does. Got Ryan Bold Underwood Motorsports with Carson Perkins, a rookie. Jack Frintz from the UK. Wow, that's cool. So a British guy coming over here to try to make an attempt. Billy Van Ingwin Inwingen. I can't. That's a name. Brian Buckwalter, the Buckwalter team. It's I think they're out. They're from upstate New York, so they probably have connections to guys that run into TQs. Then Zach Daum is racing one of Andy Bondio's cars, a 47X. Kevin Thomas Jr., part of the Alex Bowman racing effort. The 55X, Matt Wood Racing, they're running Landon Brooks. Abacus Racing, first entry that we see is for David Gravel, the driver who has come close to winning the World of Outlaws Championship last few years and has had won the Knoxville Nationals as well. Won a lot of the big races in wing sprint car racing. The Watertown, Connecticut driver. Maria Ide, the Keith Kunz Motorsports driver, number 71E. Buddy Kofoid, who is likely, if not the favorite, one of the favorites to win this race. He's done everything you can do, basically, but win this race in a midget in the 71W. And got Tanner Holmes for CB Industries. Yeah, that's the Tuesday lineup there. Few names there, of course. They're spread out across all 5 days. So Sammy Swindell will be trying to qualify on Wednesday night. They got Tanner Berryhill, a NASCAR driver, trying to make it in this race. And Michael Facinto, Jace McIntosh, and Brody Wake, both of them for the David McIntosh team. Jonathan Beeson, the 8J, Reinbold Underwood, Mitchell Moles, the 19T, Steve Buckwalter, from Pennsylvania. He's racing in the TQs at Allentown this weekend, and he will be flying down to Tulsa to get in for practice and compete in the Chili Bowl. You got Alex Bright from Pennsylvania, Corey Day racing for Willie Kane, brother of Casey or Candy. Dylan Welch making another attempt at the Chili Bowl, the number 49. Got to the main event a couple of years ago, got close to the main event over the last few years. Other times, Blake Hahn, the grandson of Emmett Hahn, who, of course, runs this great event, has made the main event before, has won a lot of the Tulsa Shootout drillers. Jake Swanson, the second at Alex Bowman racing car, the 55A. Tyler Courtney, Sunshine for Abacus Racing, definite person to look at, a favorite. Brent Cruz, the 67W, driving for Keith Kunz, another one of the 13 drivers he's entered for this race. Jade Avedisian, who had a great season last year in one of the midget categories, trying to give herself a chance to make the show and possibly be the first woman to ever win this race. Cale Drake, a rookie, 71K racing for Keith Kunz Motorsports. Dason Pursley for CB Industries. That's another one. So that's the list for Wednesday night. That was usually the night Rico Abreu would qualify. I think Tuesday night was the night that Kyle Larson would run, and I think Thursday night was the night that Christopher Bell would run in his qualifying night. Spencer Baston, the longtime competitor there, Spencer Baston. In recent years, Ashton Torgelson, Cole for Rosenblum, Gavin Boshelli for Keith Kunz Motorsports, Cruzman's teams, Austin Nye, a rookie, men's Australia, and McIntosh team, Span Hunt Brothers, Don't know who any of those people are. JJ Ailey, I do know who he is. He's been around for forever. The Real Deal, Andrew Deal, uh, another one. Reinbold Underwood. We'll have Ricky Thornton Jr., Brady Bacon, the 21H, Tim Buckwalter in the number 29. Go through some of these other CJ Leary in the 55V for Alex Bowman's team, the third driver for them. Emerson Axum, the 68K for Keith Coons Motorsports. Taylor Ferns driving for Bob East, and Bob East, the Beast chassis and Chevy powered. So it's interesting there. Long time name in midget racing and successful over in the past. The likes of Tony Stewart winning championships for them. Jesse Love, CB Industries, number 84, the ARCA Series champion. Ryan Bernal, the 87W for Matt Wood Racing. Tanner Thorson, the 2022 winner of this race, racing for himself this year, number 88. Kaylee Bryson racing a number 91K for Swindell Motorsports. And so we'll see if she can make the main event again this year. That's Wednesday night or Thursday night. Thought I picked, so I did. So now we'll go to Friday night. Justin Grant for RMS Racing, Shane Cottle, the 5X, Josh Balicki, the NASCAR driver, racing for Ramco Speed Group, Hunter Schoenberg in the 8W, Santino Ferrucci for David McIntosh's team, Harley White, the young lady, she's racing in this night, Tim McCready, the former winner for Hayward Motorsports, Hayden Reinbold for Reinbold Underwood, Darren Pittman for Matt Wood Racing, former World of Outlaws champion, Don Dowd Jr., Chase Stockton from Indiana for Rosenblum's team, the Jason McDougall racing for Travis White, Logan Seavey, the defending race winner, will be trying to qualify on Friday night. Adam Andretti racing in the Chili Bowl. So that's he's races in Trans Am as well. So that's interesting, going and showing that whole versatility of the Andretti family. Ryan Timms for Keith Coons Motorsports, Ronnie Gardner, Brian Weideman for CB Industries, Gavin Miller, 97 for Keith Coons Motorsports, along with Tom Harris from the United Kingdom. And that's it. So we'll see how the Chili Bowl goes. Probably make some picks, just kind of wild card selections going into next week and the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals. Rolex 24, the entry list. So just to get into a GTP, 10 cars entered right now. Chip Ganassi Racing. This is Chip Ganassi Racing Cadillac, the 01 with Sebastian Bourdais, Renger Van de Zande, and Scott Dixon. Proton Competition with Mustang Sampling Porsche 963, Jimmy Bruni and Neil Yanni, third driver. It says not confirmed. For Penske Porsche Motorsport, the number 6 will have Nick Tandy, Matt Jaminet, Kevin Estra, and Lawrence Vantor. The number 7, Felipe Nasr, Dane Cameron returning to race in the U.S. after being in the World Endurance Championship the last few years. Joseph Newgarden, the Indy 500 champion, and Matt Campbell in the Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Autosport Acura team, the number 10. We'll have Ricky Taylor, Philippe Albuquerque, Brendan Hartley, and Marcus Ericsson. BMW ALL, the 24, will have Augusta Farfus, Jesse Krohn, Dries Van Doren, and a fourth driver, TBD. The 25, Connor D. Filippi, Nick Yellowly, and Maxime Martin, fourth driver to be determined. The Action Express Wheel and Engineering Cadillac, Pippo Durrani, his new teammate, the full-time teammate will be Jack Aiken, and Tom Blomqvist, the former Rolex 24 winner and IMSA champion, now moving to IndyCar, will be the third driver there. Jordan Taylor comes back to prototype racing and racing for his father. Louis Delatraz moves to the IMSA series. Holton Herta and 2009 Formula One World Champion Jensen Button will be the fourth driver for Wayne Taylor Racing in that, and Andretti Autosports 40 car. JDC Miller Motorsport with the number 85 now this year after being the Mustang sampling team. Tingman Vanderhelm, Richard Westbrook, Phil Hansen, and Ben Keating will be the driver strength there. That's a 10-car field in the GTP category. Lamborghini will be around for Sebring, and I figure other cars will come along over this rest of the season, and then definitely in 2025 with Aston Martin coming over. LMP2 grows in 2024 largely because of the World Endurance Championship putting the LMP2 class to the side because of the field size. United Autosports moves over to the United States full time. Ben Hanley, Ben Keating will be the full-time duo. Nico Pino and Patricio O'Ward will be racing as a fourth driver there. United Autosports, part owned by Zach Brown, hence why Pat O'Ward has an opportunity there. One reason why he has opportunity there. CrowdStrike Racing by APR, George Kurtz, the AM driver with Colin Brown, the pro driver last year, raced for Meyer Shank Racing in GTP, and they won the Rolex last year, but they got penalized for tire pressure infringement that essentially the points penalty they suffered there knocked them out of the championship. Otherwise, the way they performed during the season, they would have won the championship. Scott McLaughlin, and they came up short in a photo finish for the race win in the Rolex 24 last year. Tower Motorsports will have Scott McLaughlin, John Ferrano, Michael Dinan, and Ferdinand Habsburg in their driver strength. Ferrano, the owner of the with that team. TDS Racing, number 11, Stephen Thomas, Mikkel Jensen, and Hunter McElray, the Indy Lights driver, and fourth driver to be determined. Era Motorsports, Ryan Dial, Dwight Merriman, Connor Zilish, and Christian Rasmussen, the IndyCar driver, the Indy Lights champion. Dial, former IndyCar driver and longtime sports car competitor. Zilish, Mazda MX-5 winner last year, won races there last year, and drove for Shea Holbrook's team, and then was driving another in all TA2 and won the TA2 championship. MDK by High Class, Seth Lucas, American, Dennis Anderson was racing for them last year. The United Autosports 22 will have Dan Goldberg, Paul DeResta, Bejoy Garg, and Felix Rosenquist. Sean Creek Motorsports, Joao Barbosa, Lance Wilsley, and I think they also announced who else is going to be on the driver's strength there. The Inter-Europol by PR1 Matheson 52 car. They won the Le Mans 24 Hours last year. The Riley Motorsports team, number 74, will have Gar Robinson, Felipe Fraga, Josh Burdon, and Felipe Massa. Dragon Speed, the 81, will have James Allen, Eric Lux, Kiffin Simpson, fourth driver to be determined. AF Corsa, the 88, Louis Perez Compenac, Nicholas Nielsen, Lilo Wadu, and the fourth driver to be determined. AO Racing, Gunnar Jeanette's team, PJ Hyatt, Paul Chatin, Matty Brabham, and Alex Quinn, the drivers in that lineup. all but the Shawn Creek Motorsports 33 are Orica cars. In the GT Pro category, GTD Pro category, Paul Miller Racing moves up with Madison Snow and Brian Sellers, Neil Verhagen and Sheldon Van der Linde, the factory BMW driver, will be a part of that crew. The Corvette Racing for Pratt Miller will have their number 3 and 4. The 3, Antonio Garcia, Alexander Sims, and Danny Juncadella. The 4 car, Nicky Katzberg, Tommy Milner, and Earl Bamba. Pfaff Motorsports, number 9, the McLaren. It'll be a plaid, orange and plaid McLaren 720. Oliver Jarvis, Martin Kirchhofer, the regular drivers, along with James Hinchcliffe making a return to racing, and Alexander Rossi, the 4th driver for that team. Hinchcliffe is going to run the Endurance Cup. Vassar, Sullivan, Lexus, Jack Hawksworth, they were champions last year in the category. Jack Hawksworth, Ben Barnicoat, the regular drivers, Kyle Kirkwood and Mike Conway, the other 2 drivers joining him for this race. Iron Lynx with their Lamborghini Huracan, Mirko Bartolotti, Andrea Calderari, Frank Pereira, and Jordan Pepper, all drivers that are longtime competitors with the Lamborghini team and also in play for their prototype program. Harder Racing, Aston Martin, Ross Gunn, Alex Riberas, and Mario Farnbacher. Risi Competizione, Ferrari, Alessandro Perguidi, David Rigon, and Daniel Serra. Multimatic Motorsports, which is Ford. The 64 will have Harry Tinknell, Mike Rockenfeller, and Christopher Mies. The second car, the 65, will have American Joey Hand, Dirk Muller, and Frederick Vervzish. Sun Energy 1, Mercedes will have Jules Gounon, Mauro Engel, Lucas Stoltz, and Kenny Habel. And the AO Racing Porsche, Seb Prio, Lauren Heinrich, and 3rd driver to be determined. The deepest category is the 25 car GT Daytona class, debut of the AWA Corvette program. So there will be 2 Corvettes in each, the GT class and GT Pro and GT Daytona class, respectively. Harder Racing has 1 in each class. Ferrari's got good representation in the GTD category. The Andretti Motorsports number 43 Porsche with Jared Andretti, Gabby Chavez, Scott Hargrove, and the 4th driver TBD. Magnus Racing with Aston Martin, Andy Lally, John Potter, and Spencer Pompelli, 4th driver not listed. The Wayne Taylor Racing with the Andretti Lamborghini team. I thought they were racing Acuras last year. They'll have Kyle Marcelli, Danny Formal, Graham Doyle, and Ashton Harrison. Proton competition with their Ford Mustang. Nobody listed as of yet. We'll see how that updates. Windward Motorsports, Russell Ward and Daniel Morad. The 2 of the 4 drivers there. Iron Lynx number 60, Claudio Schiavone, Matteo Crisoni, Roman Grosjean, and Matteo Caroli. The Gradient Racing Acura, the 3 ladies, Sheena Monk, Catherine Legan, Tatiana Calderon, and Stephen McAleer, the 1 male representative in that team. Inception Racing, their McLaren, Brendan Uribe, Frederick Shandorf, Ollie Milroy, and Tom Gamble. The Lamborghini 78 Forte Racing, Misha Goikhberg, Laura Spinelli, Devlin DeFrancesco, and Sandy Mitchell. The 83 Iron Dames GT car will Rahel Frey, Sarah Bovey, and Michelle Gadding. The Turner Motorsports BMW number 96, Robbie Foley, Patrick Gallagher, Jake Walker, and Jens Klingman. So that's that. So that is a condensed version previewing some of the people that stand out, have a possibility of winning the race. And when you consider it's a 24-hour sprint, it asks a lot of man and machine for that to happen. I was trying to go through some of the other news. Williams announced that they're going to be testing or debuting or launching their 2024 scheme, and for in New York City, which is interesting. They're now utilizing the United States for a lot of these launch dates. Bill Abel trying to get a full-time deal going with his organization in IndyCar. I try to go through some of these other bits. Yeah. Alfa Romeo becomes, or what was Alfa Romeo now was had become Sauber's now Stake F1 based on the sponsor. And I'd be remiss before we move forward to give condolences and our thoughts for the families of both Cale Yarborough and Jill DeFerrin, who both passed away right at the end of 2023. Got some of the other people there and other stuff. The Hyderabad round of the Formula E World Championship has been canceled due to government issues with how they're running the event. So that's disappointing, to say the least, after coming back to the championship, a race in India. Kevin Harvick announced that the Cars Tour he's going to start a Western Pro Late model part of the Cars Tour. So that's that. Race of Champions, we'll have 16 drivers. Sammy Swindell goes without saying. Spencer Bastin, winner of won last year's Race of Champions. Justin Grant, 2022 winner. Chase Briscoe gets an invitation into the race. Carter Sarf, the winner of the Power Eye Midget Championship last year. Tim McCready, the 2006 winner of the Chili Bowl. Ricky Thornton Jr., two-time winner of a Golden Driller in the Tulsa Shootout. He'll be in the race. Hank Davis, driver who won his prelim night last year. This is all from Speed Sport. Logan Seavey, the defending race winner of the Chili Bowl. Corey Day, the winner of the 2023 Northern Auto Racing Club title. Zach Daum, for race because of racing for Andy Bondio. Brett Cruz in the 66. My bad. I said it was Zilch or whatever. It was Brent Cruz who won the TA2 title. Jade Avedizian, 2023 Chili Bowl Rookie of the Year, highest finishing woman in event history, won the Extreme Outlaw Series midget title. Cannon McIntosh, winning, has been on the Monday qualifier and winning there. Jesse Love, the ARCA Menard Series champion, and Tanner Thorson, 2022 champion. Trying to go and to see what else is going on in the world of racing. Supercross is going on this weekend, starting again with their 2024 season on the West Coast with Anaheim 1, one of the classic races of the year. So we'll get into more detail with that as we get closer to, as we go through the season here. So to get back with the news, in terms of NASCAR news, some of the things that have come up, Josh Bilicki mentioned him for the Chili Bowl. He's also going to run select races for DGM Racing in the Xfinity Series. And another piece of news with David Reagan racing the number 60 at the Daytona 500, multiple winner on the restrictor plate tracks, or super speedways now, because just strictly super speedways, they're not restrictor plate races anymore. With that, Cam Waters, the Australian V8 Supercars driver, is being tapped to go and race on the road courses. Brody Kostecki with Richard Childress Racing, the the defending Supercars champion, is going to come over and race a few races in 2024. Also, it looks like Cam Waters is going to be there. And then Shane Van Gisbergen, who's got a very busy schedule in 2024, running the full Xfinity schedule with WeatherTech as a sponsor. He'll race a number of races in the Cup Series, in a third Trackhouse car, and he'll be running the Daytona ARCA race to get qualified or get the certification so they can race the Xfinity race. Marco Andretti is also going to be running that race too, so it'll be interesting how that all comes off there. Spotters, and or actually I'll get into that spotter news briefly or shortly. Ty Dillon's going to be racing for Rackley War in the Truck Series, which is interesting. But I thought he was going to be in the Cup Series, but he actually is now in the Truck Series. So maybe he'll actually look like he actually has a clue. We'll see how that all works out. DraftKings and NASCAR have connected on a designation agreement for sports betting in North Carolina, and then expansion of their sponsorship. Of course, they sponsor Darrell Walsh Jr. BetMGM at the same time is also connecting with Charlotte Motor Speedway. So they sponsor Kyle Busch and the 8 car in the Cup Series. So looks like betting in North Carolina is going to be big, and NASCAR's connection to sports betting, all these different brands, I think, will probably be on these cars soon enough. Claire Me Lang, after 22 years, was has left or was not let go, whatever, at Sirius XM. So who knows what they're going to do with Dialed In. So curious to see what they do with that. Never was a big fan of Claire Me Lang, but, she served a purpose. And she actually, for whatever, good, bad, or indifferent, she was, at least there was passion there. She knew her stuff, compared to some of these people that are just puppet heads for the likes of SOD and Steve Phelps. You got, I said that, Alpha Prime will be racing part-time in with the 45 car in 2024, because they've already announced, I think, 2 full-time drivers. So racing that car part-time. Leland Honeyman will move up to the Xfinity Series with Young's Motorsports. Spire Motorsports, not really surprising, is going to be running Chase Purdy, number 77. Not sure what number they're going to use for Kyle Busch, but I would think it would be the 51, but we'll see. He'll be racing limited races. The 7 truck, I'm assuming, will be the other full-time driver, and we still haven't heard who that'll be. Spire Motorsports, how many trucks they will have, I would assume they'll run 2. William Sawalich, who's going to be busy with the ARCA series, will also run an expanded truck schedule for Tricon. And then Lane Riggs, we talked about, so Lane Riggs, we talked about before the end of last year, will be in the 38 Front Row Motorsports truck, which I think is a huge deal for Ford and huge deal in general, to take over that ride that Zane Smith won the championship with a couple of years ago. Got spotter news. Eddie DeHaan will be Josh Berry's spotter. We got Tim Fedewa is going to be the spotter for Ryan Blaney, and Trey Poole, friend of Chase Elliott, will be the full-time spotter for William Clyde Elliott II there. And we'll get into more detail as we get closer to the clash itself. I'm trying to go through here, see if there's anything else that stands out. Not on, Renault is open to resume Andretti talks if they can get approved finally. I wouldn't see why not in terms of trying to work with them because there's nobody else that can really supply them. Talking about Supercross, we'll see more detail after Anaheim 1, how that all works out. Went through some. Okay. Gus Greensmith, who was competing in Rally 1 in recent years, will be racing for Skoda in Rally 2. Andreas Mikkelsen talking about why he went with Hyundai over M Sport Ford. I'm trying to gap between F2 and too big. Oh, that's something. So Lucas Lauda, that actually is Nicky Lauda's son. Wow. Porsche Penske Motorsports eyeing 3 hypercar Le Mans 2024 attack. Andretti performing higher than any other team in Formula E based on world champion Jake Dennis. This will be comprise the grid in the World Superbike Championship, based on the one American, of course, is Garrett Gerloff, riding for the satellite BMW Bonovo BMW team. World champions Alvaro Bautista. His new teammate is the World Supersport champion Nicolo Bulega, the Italian. Yamaha will see Johnny Ray go there after many years with Kawasaki, and he'll be teamed up with Andrea Locatelli. Kawasaki replaces him with Axel Bassani. Alex Lowe stays. Yamaha, GRT Yamaha will have Dominique Argater in his second year and Remy Gardner as well. The Honda team stays the same. Iker Lackawanna, Javi Vieje, both former MotoGP riders. The satellite Moto Corsa Ducati team Vieje, Bassani was riding for, will be Michael Ruben Rinaldi this year. The Barney Ducati effort will again run with Danilo Petrucci. Gerloff's teammate will be Scott Redding. The factory BMW team, because Redding had to move over for Toprak Raskat-Lioku, and teammate he'll be teamed with Michael Vandermark. Andrea Iannone makes his return to World Championship motorcycle racing after being banned for drugs. He'll be on the number 29 Go 11 Ducati. Philip Odell will be racing on a Yamaha, the GMT 94 Yamaha. Bradley Ray for Moto X Racing Yamaha. Adam Norodin and Taryn McKenzie for MIE Racing Honda. Tito Rabat will be the former MotoGP rider, will be on the Puccetti Kawasaki, and Sam Lowes, who has been racing in Moto2 in recent years, will move to World Superbikes with Mark VDS on a Ducati in 2024. So that's it for the racing news for now. We'll get into more as we get towards at the next few episodes of the show. Week 18 of the NFL season, the NFL playoff picture as it stands going into week 18 of the final week of the regular season. There are teams that have already clinched there are 5 available spots for the playoffs as it stands. In the AFC, 4 teams have clinched: the Ravens, Dolphins, and Chiefs. So those are as of now, division champs, and the Cleveland Browns for the wild card. Ravens are going to be the number 1 seed and have home field throughout the AFC playoffs. In the NFC, they're the Niners, Cowboys, Lions, and then the Eagles and the Rams. Cowboys and the Eagles are battling for the NFC East. The Lions are solid. They have no problem. And the Rams are in the playoff, playing the 49ers in week 18. The 49ers can win. They already have home field throughout, but get to 13 wins. Right now, as it stands, the Pittsburgh Steelers had to have to win against Baltimore, with Baltimore likely sitting out players based on having everything clinched. And Indianapolis Colts and Houston Texans. Those are the two games for Saturday. Whoever wins the Colts Texans game makes the playoff. And based on what happens in the Jacksonville Tennessee game, if Jacksonville wins, they make the playoffs. If they don't win, they could not only they won't win the division, but they could possibly get knocked out. So there's possibilities with that. The Buffalo Bills, it's pretty straightforward for them. If they can win against Miami in game 272, they will win the AFC East and be a number 2 seed. Otherwise, they would have some stress on their hands if they don't win the game. In terms of the NFC, it's about the NFC South. Buccaneers control their own destiny. If they can beat Carolina, they win the division, which is probably pretty likely. The Packers have a Week 18 matchup against Justin Fields, and they're at home. If they win, they're pretty likely to make it in. They're pretty high likelihood of them making it in. Seattle has to beat Arizona and get some help. The Saints have to beat the Atlanta Falcons and need Carolina actually to show up for the first time in weeks. That would be something. The Vikings need to win along with the Falcons over New Orleans if they want to have a chance. The odds and the probabilities are not as good a favor for the Vikings or the Falcons. The Saints really have the Saints and the Seahawks are the other two teams that are in the mix for the playoffs. So it'll be something to see there. I was trying to look up draft or whatever, the draft order, just out of curiosity. The 2024 draft order as it stands right now, the number 1 overall pick will be the Carolina Panthers again, but that pick goes to the Chicago Bears after David Tepper and his regime traded away picks to get up to number 1 and pick Bryce Young. Washington, New England, Carolina all have 4 wins. Then you have the Giants, Chargers, and Titans at 5 at 11. The Jets are at 6 and 10. They're in 8th. Then you have 4, 7, and 9 teams. 3 of them teams are actually in some semblance of contention for the playoffs in Atlanta, Chicago, and Minnesota. New Orleans, Denver, Seattle, and Cincinnati are 8 and 8. You think about Cincinnati not having Burrow, Seattle having various quarterback concerns over the season, Denver, which is scuffling towards the finish line, and New Orleans, which has had great defense but has struggled on offense for consistency. Right now, then I talked about the Chicago pick, getting it from Carolina. Houston would pick 17th based on a pick that they acquired from Arizona. And then you have Indianapolis, the Jaguars, and the Rams all at 9 and 7. Green Bay, Tampa Bay are also 8 and 8. The 10-win teams are Buffalo and Kansas City. Pittsburgh is a 9-win team. Philadelphia, Detroit, Cleveland, who gets their pick from Houston. So Houston gets a pick from Arizona, but loses a pick to Cleveland. Got Miami and Dallas, and then San Francisco and Baltimore. Leading into Super Wild Card weekend, the 49ers won, coming off of their brutal defeat against Baltimore. They recovered and played well against the Washington General Redskin Commanders. Just having to watch out for injuries to some of these players, and looks like a good amount of them are going to sit, including Christian McCaffrey, who had a calf strain. So he's going to take the time off to come back. Otherwise, you got nicked up guys on both the defensive and offensive lines, so need to get that rest. Secondary is also getting banged up, but we're getting close to the end of the season, so trying what they can to get themselves back and win that elusive Lombardi Trophy. Tough competition in the AFC. Jacksonville needs to win their game, and if they do that, better than average likelihood that they're going to make the playoff. If they don't win to certain permutations, they could be out of the playoffs. That's how also Buffalo's situation is. If they don't win, they're out, and that's pretty crazy to think after how dominant they were earlier in the season, to leak oil the way that they have through the end of the season. Going through the coaching carousel, Carolina's needs a new coach again. Washington's probably going to get a new coach, they are getting a new coach. It's just who and when they're going to get him, because they hung Rivera out there. But Josh Harris wants his own people or his own guys, so that's probably what he's looking at. The Patriots, we don't know for sure if Robert Kraft's gonna keep Bill Belichick. I don't believe he is, but he has won 6 Super Bowls, so you never know. Arizona is on their second year, on a coach in his second year. So are the Giants. The Chargers need a coach. There's intrigue with that job, even though the Spanoses are terrible. The Tennessee Titans really lack an offensive identity outside of give it to Derrick Henry. You need to be able to make short to intermediate passes and also have the touch to throw a deep ball. That offense is kind of like a sieve. It's kind of like Atlanta, because Atlanta basically is that offense too. Jets, Bob Saleh, Joe Douglas got the vote of confidence, but the product that they put out on the field is not great. And then you add guys like Aaron making conspiracy theories and stuff because he is what he is. So those are the ones that kind of stand out to me. Denver, they have a first-year returning head coach and paying a lot of money, but it looks like they're going to get rid of Russell Wilson and start over at quarterback. You have Cincinnati, they're not making any changes. Arizona's not making any changes. They'll have 2 picks in the top 17 of the draft. So will Chicago have 2 top 10 picks as of now. And then, Jackson, we'll see what happens in terms of who wins both a AFC and NFC South, and what happens with the 2 wild card places in the AFC and 1 in the NFC before we move towards the playoffs and talk about Black Monday. So for me, motivations other than maintaining sobriety and going and having a positive year and putting my best foot forward every day. Definitely want to try new things in terms of my life and, enjoy racing more, get the most out of the races, even if they're not exactly what I want to see or what I've enjoyed. And hoping for better days communications-wise in IndyCar, NASCAR, improving the car so that it puts a better product on. Formula One, just to see fish lips lose more than once would be a bonus. And Lewis Hamilton returning back to the top step of the podium where he belongs after he was robbed and screwed in 80-21. Other motivations, to get to 180 average on the regular in bowling and to continue to get better, because there's no reason to keep going if I can't get better. And excuse me there. So those are just some of the wishes, of course, going and making most out of every day work-wise and doing what I can at work to help the consumers and help myself out, and do the best I can there, because it's a good job and there's a lot of good things there and good perks. So continue to maintain that, maybe even go and look into school again. So, and possibly getting some of the other things straightened out for my situation. I mean, wishes for the birthday, I mean, we'll come up with stuff more closer to my birthday, but, getting gifts, getting something for myself, kind of be able to treat myself after what has been a year of change and progression. So that is what it is with that. So you can find me at PGMatthew28 on Twitter. You can find us at GripStripPod on Twitter. And you can find the GripStrip podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. So Google, Amazon, Podbean's our host site. Anywhere basically you can hear podcasts or listen or hear whatever and see, you can get it, the GripStrip podcast. We're on YouTube. The YouTube page is Josh's baby. He goes and manages the media, the visual media side of this show, and I post this audio in a hopefully a quicker manner than it has been in recent months. We'll be back. Josh is JP Huffine on Twitter, uSailor2 on Discord, and or not Discord, on Twitch, and he's got his opinion and stuff on NASCAR on his Twitter page, and so check that out. He handles the video feed, of course, as I said, and we will be back for episode 202 of the GripStrip podcast in next week, and we'll have Josh back and we'll get into more detail of everything going on in racing, and especially in football, so that we maximize our situation there. So the NFL Week 18, so I didn't do that. So that's what that is. So for myself, Philip Matthew, we thank you for listening to GripStrip Podcast. Welcome to Season 5 of the GripStrip Podcast. And we will thank you for listening, subscribing, and we'll see you next time.